1 in 5 women will be raped in their lifetime. I am one of those women. And the criminal justice system has validated me in a way that most survivors never receive. My rapist, Alec Neal, was found guilty. And he's part of the 3% of rapists who have ever been held accountable for this crime. With this validation, I've had the freedom to share my story publicly. And in doing so, I have learned that I am far from alone in this suffering. The Minnesota Department of Health estimates that 61,000 Minnesotans are sexually assaulted each year. Sexual violence survivors are our friends and family, neighbors and colleagues, but we often don't know just who they are because the experiences of survivors are silenced and the wounds of sexual violence are invisible. We play a very important role in helping survivors heal. Our words and actions will either compound the belief that the world is a dangerous place and that people are ultimately untrustworthy, or we can help survivors regain a sense of agency, safety, and trust. So tonight, I'm here to share with you the importance of offering choices to survivors of sexual violence. I have a model to provide how to offer choices in a trauma-sensitive way. And finally, I want to apply that choice model in the context of asking for consent. So, choices are important because at the heart of trauma is disempowerment. That is, that the perpetrator has all the power and the victim has none. They are being forced, they are held captive, rendered ultimately powerless. So that feeling of powerlessness stays with a person in the aftermath of sexual violence. And so healing from trauma really requires empowerment or returning to a survivor their sense of agency and ability to choose and influence outcomes. It's more than just being a nice person or a good friend. Even things that are done with good intention or things that you think are done in their best interest can be hurtful and triggering if it's done without their input or permission. Ultimately, survivors really need to feel like they have choices, that they're able to make the choice that feels right for them, and that they can have that choice be respected. These are the things that we're missing from the traumatic experience itself. So the model starts with offering more than one option. So starting one or more tangible options, offering an opt-out, and then validating everything that's given. It could sound something like saying, if you'd like, we could meet up in person. If you'd rather talk on the phone, that's okay too. Or if you'd want some space, your choice. Whatever you prefer works for me. Choices have to be tangible. After I was raped, a lot of people said to me, call me anytime. And when I was having nightmares at 3 a.m., I wondered, did any time include now? So offering something tangible, offering something that has boundaries to it would be more helpful. Additionally, survivors heal very differently. So what's helpful for one survivor might be very hurtful for another. When in doubt, just don't offer advice, offer choices instead. Finally, we can consider how to use this model in the context of consent. So it starts the same way, offering one or more tangible options, allowing someone to say no or stop at any point, and then just validating that all those are feasible. Currently, we think about affirmative consent as asking the question, do you want to fill in the blank? And while that's better than nothing, it's not trauma sensitive. Because when you hear someone ask that question, do you want to come home with me or be intimate, what we're ultimately hearing is the preference and hope for that the person being asked will say yes. If we add, if not, that's okay too. The person asking removes their sense of preference and ultimately makes it a real and valid choice. We need to make consent about making it just as easy to say no as it is to say yes. So consent needs to be about making it just as easy to say no as it is to say yes. And any pressure wouldn't really be consent. Healing from trauma requires empowerment, and one of the easiest ways we can empower survivors is by offering them choices with tangible options and the ability to opt out. And because survivors surround us, and because we often don't know who they are, we can start using this model from our everyday interactions. So if you have questions, if you want to be involved in the movement and the activism, feel free to contact me on social media or via email. And if not, that's okay too.